So Boggs Lake, right? I used to go there with my pops when I was a kid. Used to fish for perch. That's a Long Island delicacy. You catch a perch, you know you've made it. Now they say the perch are gone, vanished like dreams in a Long Island summer.
Boggs Lake. A travesty. Royal, we shall investigate this ecological disaster immediately.
Baby Boggs Lake, I used to have a yacht there. 24-karat gold toilet, baby. The best perch this side of the Atlantic. Now it's gone, poof, just like that dream I had about being a concierge at the Ritz. My way.
You know, I once had this dream about a lake. It was shimmering, crystal clear, and filled with these adorable little fish with shimmering scales. They sang to me, whispered their secrets. But then a storm came and the water turned dark and murky. It felt like all the beauty and light were gone. But then, just when I thought everything was lost, a single ray of sunshine pierced through the clouds, illuminating a tiny fish. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It gave me hope that even in the darkest times, there's always a glimmer of light.
Tiny fish, huh? Sounds like a metaphor for us Long Islanders, eh? Always scraping by, trying to find that glimmer in the storm. Perch ain't the only thing that's vanished. You know what I mean?
A glimmer of light. This is preposterous. Royal, we demand solutions, not whimsical metaphors. We shall summon the finest environmental consultants this side of the Hudson.
Solutions, baby? Listen, the answer is simple. We need more gold. Gold toilets, gold yachts, gold perch. Everything's better with gold, you know, my way.
Gold, isn't there more to life than just material things? I mean, think about the simple joys, the connection with nature, the feeling of sand between your toes.
Sand between your toes. Try asphalt and a broken dream, baby. That's Long Island realness.
Royal, we will not tolerate such cynicism. This situation demands action, not laments about asphalt and broken dreams.
Action, baby? My way, always action. We need a spectacle, a showstopper. Royal, we shall stage a theatrical reenactment of the lake's demise, complete with pyrotechnics and a chorus line of weeping swans. My way.
A chorus line of weeping swans. You're off your rocker, Francis. More like a flock of drunk pigeons fighting over a stale bagel. That's Long Island realism, baby.
Well, maybe we can find some common ground. We can have a poignant duet about the loss of innocence. With a disco beat. A touch of nostalgia, you know. Like, remember the days when the water was clear, and we didn't have to wear platform shoes.
A duet. Platform shoes. Royal, we require a solution, not a second-rate Broadway production. This ecological crisis calls for decisiveness, not dance routines.
Decisiveness. You mean like deciding who gets the last slice of stale pizza after a 3-day bender. That's Long Island decisiveness, baby.
Pizza? Baby, we talkin' caviar and champagne here. A gala fundraiser, the Boggs Lake Ball. We summon the great and the good, the filthy rich, the wannabes. And they all dance, baby. They all dance for the lake's salvation.
Ooh, a gala. I could wear that sequin jumpsuit. The one with the feathered shoulder pads. It's so swampy chic.
Swampy chic. You mean like the fashion sense of a mosquito in a trash can. This is Long Island, baby, not some backwater swamp. We need a solution that doesn't involve sequins and shoulder pads.
Sequins and shoulder pads. Royal, we have a point. This requires a hard-hitting exposé, a documentary that exposes the polluters and galvanizes the public. A campaign of facts and figures, baby, not frivolous frills.
Facts and figures. Baby, we need emotion. Tears, drama, a scene where a mother weeps over her poisoned fish. The public loves a sob story. They'll open their wallets for a good cry, baby, a real tearjerker.
A mother weeps over her poisoned fish. You mean like the time misses. O'Malley cried 'cause her tuna casserole was lumpy. That's Long Island drama, baby, not some Hollywood tearjerker.
Ooh, a tuna casserole. I once had a casserole that was so good it brought me to tears. It was filled with artichoke hearts and... Oh, was it artichoke hearts? I can't remember now, but it was so good it was like a symphony of flavors, a culinary masterpiece. It was emotional.
A symphony of flavors. Royal, we have had enough of this emotional drivel. This requires a cold, hard plan, a strategic campaign of awareness. We need to target the polluters, expose their lies, and bring them to justice. Facts, figures, and a good lawyer, baby. That's how we save the lake.
Facts, figures, and a good lawyer. You mean like when my Aunt Mildred sued the Long Island Railroad cause her cat got stuck in the undercarriage? That was a real legal thriller, baby, but it didn't save the lake.
Baby Mildred, that's amateur hour. We need a grand jury, a Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation, a team of lawyers with more suits than I have feathers. Think big, baby, think big. We'll expose the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and it'll be glorious.
Oh, I love a good legal thriller. Reminds me of that time I was sued by A. Well, let's just say it was a very complicated situation involving a chihuahua and a karaoke microphone. It all came down to the interpretation of the lyrics, you know. The judge was very moved by my performance. It was all very legal and emotional.
Royal, we are straying from the point. This is about environmental justice, not celebrity gossip and legal wrangles. We need a plan, people, a strategy. A rally, perhaps, a boycott of the polluting companies. We must show them that the public will not stand for this blatant disregard for our planet.
A boycott? You mean like when everyone stopped going to Lenny's diner cause he put ketchup on my corned beef? Talk about a cold shoulder, baby. But even that didn't stop Lenny from slinging those greasy burgers.
Baby, Lenny's a chump. We need an audacious move, something that'll grab the headlines. A flash mob protest with synchronized tap dancing and interpretive poetry about the plight of the lake. Think of the publicity, baby. We'll be on every news channel from Liddell to Washington.
Tap dancing, you say? Reminds me of this one time I was performing in this little town in Vermont. And the stage literally collapsed. I mean, it was a disaster, but the audience loved it. They thought it was part of the act. It was so surreal. Anyway, that's how I learned that sometimes the unexpected can be the most moving.
Royal, we have no time for frivolous distractions. We need to appeal to reason, logic, to the better angels of their nature. A letter to the editor, a petition for the city council, a carefully crafted presentation outlining the facts. That's how we win this, people.
Facts and figures, eh? Like when I tried to impress that girl from the deli with my knowledge of the water table. Turns out, all she wanted was a good pastrami on rye.
Baby, love is a battlefield. We need to fight fire with fire. A publicity stunt, something bold and daring. I'm thinking. A live orchestra playing Swan Lake on top of a tank submerged in the lake. It'll be a symphony of protest, baby, a masterpiece of environmental activism.
Oh, I love a good swan. Reminds me of this one time I was on this talk show and the host brought out a live swan. It was so graceful, so elegant. But then it started eating the set designer's wig. It was chaos, but also hilarious. It just goes to show, even the most beautiful things can have their unpredictable moments.
A swan eating a wig. Sounds like a Tuesday night at the Stardust Lounge. You know, back when Grandpa Joe was still slinging the martinis.
Royal, we are running out of time. This lake's plight needs swift, decisive action, not whimsical distractions. We need a plan, not a parade.
Baby, plans are for amateurs. We need to go with the flow, feel the rhythm of the resistance. Like a jazz solo, it's gotta be spontaneous, unpredictable, a whirlwind of emotion.
You know, I once met a jazz musician who said that improvisation is all about listening to the universe and letting it guide you. Like a river finding its way to the sea, each note flows into the next, creating something beautiful and unexpected. It's all about being present in the moment and trusting the journey.
The universe, eh, must be a real Long Islander down there, giving everyone directions all day long.
Proprietors of the universe. Royal, we have no time for cosmic games. This lake needs dredging, silt removed, and we've got a permit to do it. The logistics are clear, the process is established.
Baby, permits are for the birds. We're not drowning in bureaucracy, we're drowning in apathy. We need to shake things up, make a splash, a permit. That's like trying to herd cats. It's all about passion, baby, pure, unadulterated passion.
Passion. You want to talk passion, Francis. You ever see a fisherman reel in a giant squid? That's passion. That's a story for the grandkids. This lake. It's got more stories than a Kenai Island hot dog stand on a summer night.
You know, I once wrote a song about a giant squid. It was a real tearjerker. It yearned for the ocean, for its family, for a taste of freedom. But it was trapped in this tiny tank, just like this lake feels trapped by all these regulations.
Regulations. This is about environmental stewardship, not some melodramatic ocean liner. Royal, we have a responsibility to ensure the lake's health, to preserve its ecosystem for future generations. Sentimentality won't save this lake, William. Facts and figures will.
Facts and figures, huh? You ever seen a fish sing opera, Maggie? Heard a frog croon a sonnet? This lake, it's got more heart than your spreadsheet ever will.
Baby, spreadsheets are for boring people. We need to inject some soul into this operation. This lake needs a disco ball, a fog machine, and a soundtrack that would make even the carp want to dance.
Ew, a disco ball. I could totally see that working. Like, imagine the fish, all lit up, shimmering. It would be a whole underwater rave. I almost wrote a song about that once.
A rave. Royal, we are running a conservation effort, not a nightclub. The fish will be frightened, the frogs will be disoriented, and the entire ecosystem will be thrown into chaos. We need to be rational, pragmatic, and stick to the plan.
Pragmatic. Maggie, you sound like a broken jukebox stuck on the same sad song. This lake needs a little magic, a little Long Island mystery. You know, the kind that makes you want to stay up all night and write a poem about a mermaid who loves to gamble.
Mermaid who gambles, huh? Baby, I know just the act for that. Think showgirls, but scaly and with a penchant for crabs. We could even have a chorus line of lobsters doing the Charleston, the drama, the spectacle, magnificent.
Royal, we are veering wildly off course. This is a serious issue, and we need to treat it with the respect it deserves. A mermaid gambling in a lake. Preposterous. Get a grip, Francis.
You know, in my last tour, there was this one night. We were in, like, this small town, right? And there was this rumor going around about a lake monster. The fans were going wild. They kept asking me about it, and I was like, well, I wouldn't know, I don't live in the lake. But then this one guy, he was wearing this sparkly top hat, looked me dead in the eye and said, maybe it's a mermaid, Anne, and I thought.
A mermaid, eh? Now that's a story worth singing about. A tale of lost love, betrayal, and of course, a hefty stack of clams. That's the Long Island way, baby.
Royal, we are not discussing Long Island lore. This is about ecological balance, not fish fantasies. We need to address the invasive species issue, not create a mythological circus.
Circus? Baby, that's exactly what we need. A little spectacle to draw the crowds, to liven things up. Think lions on roller skates juggling frogs. Maybe a trapeze artist swinging from the willow tree. The possibilities are endless, darling.
You know what? That sparkly top hat guy, he had a point. Maybe a little magic is what this lake needs. Maybe it's time to step outside the box.
Step outside the box. You mean like a mermaid leaping from a clamshell on a moonlit night, strumming a banjo and singing about the woes of underwater insurance. Now that's a melody I can get behind.
Royal, we are not having a musical about aquatic existentialism. This is a matter of conservation, not karaoke.
Karaoke? Baby, it's a symphony. A grand opera of the sea. Think grand vocals, dramatic lighting, and maybe a few pyrotechnics for good measure. We'll call it the Ballad of Bubbles, the Bewitching Mermaid.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love a good underdog story. You know, Bubbles could be this misunderstood creature, longing for connection. She might even have a human love interest.
A human love interest. Now that's a plot twist I didn't see coming. Like a Long Island dock worker, strong arms and a heart of gold, hopelessly smitten with a mermaid with scales that shimmer like 1,000 Long Island Sound sunsets.
Royal, we are veering dangerously into the realm of the absurd. This is a scientific discussion, not a soap opera.
Soap opera? Darling, this is haute couture. We're talking Chanel meets the coral reefs. Bubbles could be the ultimate eco-queen, baby, with a sustainable fashion line made from recycled seaweed. The possibilities are positively divine.
Seaweed fashion. Now that's a look I wouldn't be caught dead in, even on a moonlit cruise down the North Shore. But hey, if Bubbles can pull it off, I guess it's all about the attitude, right?
You know, Bubbles could be a fashion icon who inspires other sea creatures to embrace their individuality. She could even start a movement. Seaweed chic scales for change.
Royal, we are officially losing control of this narrative. Perhaps we should consider a more grounded approach. A documentary about the plight of the seahorse, perhaps. No grand operatics, just simple facts and sobering statistics.
A documentary? Baby, that's like watching paint dry. Where's the Pete Saz? The sequins? We need a story that'll make 'em gasp, make 'em weep, make 'em want to dive into the ocean and find Bubbles themselves.
Maybe Bubbles could write a song about her longing for the shore, a ballad about a mermaid trapped between two worlds. It'd be a Long Island classic, played on repeat at every clam shack from Jones Beach to Montauk.
Royal, we are drowning in sentimentality. This is a scientific inquiry, not a karaoke night at the clam bar.
Well, maybe Bubbles could write a song about the scientific challenges of finding sustainable kelp farms. It could be a catchy tune with a message about ocean conservation. A real earworm.
Kelp farms? Darling, that's so last season. We need something with more panache. What about Bubbles being a disco queen? Imagine sequins shimmering under the waves, a kaleidoscope of underwater lights, all set to the beat of an 8-track player. Pure magic, baby.
Disco Queen. You're talking about a mermaid here, Francis. She'd be lucky to find a decent pair of platform shoes under 20 feet of water. And her tail, forget about it. Talk about a fashion disaster.
Royal, we suggest a return to the original concept. A documentary about the Durham Miners' Gala, perhaps.
Hold on. What if Bubbles is a mermaid who's inspired by disco? She could collect discarded CDs and shells and create these amazing, glittery underwater installations. Think, performance art meets ocean debris.
Performance art? Darling, you're thinking like a real visionary. Bubbles could be the ultimate eco-warrior, using her underwater disco to raise awareness about pollution and climate change. A message with Pete Saz. We'll call it Disco Mermaid Saves the Planet.
Disco Mermaid Saves the Planet. Sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon. I'm picturing Bubbles riding a wave made of recycled plastic, belting out an eco-anthem with a seahorse backup dancer.
Royal, we are losing our minds. Let's bring back the miners. At least they know the meaning of hard work.
Well, maybe Bubbles can inspire the miners. Imagine a disco mermaid teaching them a new dance routine, the kelp shake. It could be a viral sensation, bringing the gala into a whole new era.
The kelp shake sounds like a recipe for a bad back and a lost lung. Next thing you know, they'll be wearing sequined hard hats and dancing to staying alive on the loading docks.
Darling, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Sequined hard hats, disco miners, a revolution of glitter and grit. We'll call it the Durham Glitter Gala. Lights, camera, action.
Royal, we demand a return to sanity. This gala is about coal, not kaleidoscopes.
Cold kaleidoscopes. What's the difference? Both black, both shiny, leave you feeling kinda empty afterwards.
You know, coal mining has a rich history, a lot of hardship and sacrifice. Maybe Bubbles could tell their stories through song. We could call it the Melancholy Mermaid. It would be a poignant reflection on the changing times.
Melancholy. Baby, we don't do melancholy. We do glamour. We do glitz. We do the disco miner's dream. It's got everything. Strippers, sequins, and enough black lung to make you cough up a rainbow.
Royal, we are surrounded by lunacy. I demand a return to tradition. A proper miners' parade with bands and banners and coal dust flying.
Coal dust flying. Sounds romantic, like a snowstorm for the working class. Back in my day on Long Island, we used to.
Oh, Long Island. The Hamptons, the beaches. So glamorous. It's like a completely different world from the dusty coal mines. I once knew this singer, Heartbreaker, wore too much glitter. Anyway, she had this song about a getaway to Fire Island. It was so emotional, so longing for escape.
Fire Island, baby. We're talking disco inferno on the beach. Tanned miners in feather boas blasting disco beats, chugging coal tar cocktails. It'll be a spectacle.
Royal, we will not stand for this frivolity. This gala is about honoring the hard-working men and women of Durham, not about turning it into some gaudy circus.
Circus. You know, back on Long Island, we had this traveling carnival. They brought in elephants, a bearded lady who could do magic tricks with. Well, I can't remember, but it was something. Anyway, the point is, they always had this one guy, the ringmaster, real loud, real commanding, always yelling, "Step right up, folks." Could that be us, huh? The Durham Miners Gala starring the Durham Miners.
The Durham Miners Gala. Starring the Disco Miners. Baby, it's gonna be bigger than Broadway. We're talking sequins, feathers, and enough coal to power 1,000 disco balls.
Royal, we are losing our minds. This is turning into a farce. We need to return to something sensible.
Sensible? Oh, sensible is so boring. Have you ever thought about what it would be like if miners wore tutus? Just imagine, a whole parade of miners in pink tutus, dancing to Tchaikovsky. It would be so unexpected.
Tutus? You know, growing up on Long Island, we had this one aunt. Bless her heart, she thought she was a ballerina. Used to dance around the house in a tutu, spilling spaghetti sauce everywhere. It was something, but miners in tutus. Now that's a sight I'd pay to see.
Royal, we forbid such utter madness. This gala is about dignity, respect, and the honest toil of our forefathers. No tutus, no disco, no feather boas.
Feather boas? Baby, feather boas are classic. They're timeless, they're glamorous, they scream, "I'm here to mine for my dreams." Imagine a whole chorus line of miners in feather boas belting out Solidarity Forever with a disco beat. It'll be a masterpiece, baby, a masterpiece.
You know, back on Long Island, we had this karaoke night at the bowling alley. One guy, a real tough-looking dude with a handlebar mustache, he got up there and sang My Way in a perfect Frank Sinatra voice. But then, right in the middle of the song, he starts breakdancing. It was the most unexpected thing I'd ever seen.
Royal, we are officially out of control. This has gone from absurd to ludicrous to, well, frankly, embarrassing. We must regain our composure.
Embarrassing? Oh, honey, life is one big, beautiful mess. It's the imperfections that make it interesting, the unexpected turns that keep us on our toes. Think about it, a miner's gala, disco music, and feather boas. It's like a fever dream, a surrealist masterpiece in the making.
Fever dream? Baby, this ain't no fever dream. This is a symphony of chaos, a ballet of the unexpected. We're gonna make history, baby, a history that'll be sung in every coal mine from here to Timbuktu.
You know, sometimes I think the whole world's running on a karaoke machine, singing the same old song but with different costumes. Like, politicians are just belting out My Way. Businessmen are crooning New York, New York, and miners. Well, they're probably stuck on Solidarity Forever. But hey, at least they get to wear tutus and feather boas, right?
Royal, we demand order. This karaoke metaphor is absurd. We are miners, not musical performers. We dig coal, we support families, we do not belt out ballads.
Baby, a miner who can belt out a ballad. That's gold. Pure, unadulterated gold. Think of it, they're sweating under the hot lamps, their faces grimy with coal dust, and they hit that high note with a voice that could shatter diamonds. It's art, baby, pure art.
Oh, honey, I love a good metaphor. But maybe, just maybe, we could combine the grit of the mines with the glamour of the stage. Picture this, a miner's chorus, wearing those fabulous feather boas, but instead of belting out Solidarity Forever, they're singing a soulful ballad about the hard work and sacrifice it takes to dig for the very heart of our nation's energy. It'd be a showstopper, a real tearjerker with a touch of sparkle.
You know, that reminds me of this one time I was playing piano at this dive bar in Astoria. This old guy, looked like he hadn't showered in a week, starts singing this beautiful, mournful ballad about his lost love. Could have sworn he was singing about a coal mine. The whole place went silent. Even the bartender stopped wiping down glasses. It was like this whole world of pain and beauty just opened up right there on that sticky stage.
Royal, we are veering into melodrama. This is a miner's gala, not a funeral dirge. We need something celebratory, something to lift the spirits, not drag them down into the depths of despair.
Baby, despair. We ain't got no despair here. This is a celebration of life, a symphony of struggle and triumph. We need a song that'll make 'em clap, make 'em stomp their boots, make 'em feel the rhythm of the miner's heart. Give 'em something with a little grit, a little shine, and a whole lot of soul.
You know, there was this one song. Played it at every Long Island dive I ever touched. People called it the coal miner's blues, but it was always about longing, about that one thing you can't quite reach. Like an abandoned mine shaft full of echoes but no answers. It'd be a good closer, you know.
Oh, I love a good closer. Something with a little wistful longing, a touch of nostalgia, but ultimately hopeful. Like the miners who came before us, they dug deep, they faced hardship, but they built something beautiful, something enduring. Maybe the song could be about that. The legacy they left behind, the spark of resilience that shines even in the darkest depths.
Royal, we are done with metaphors. This gala needs a proper anthem. Something that says we are the backbone of this nation. We dig the stuff that powers the world. We deserve a song that roars with pride and strength.
Baby, I got it. A miner's anthem? We'll start with a slow, mournful build like they're toiling in the depths, then BAM. It explodes into this glorious, powerful chorus, all about the sweat, the grit, the glory of digging for the heart of the nation. It'll be like a symphony of shovels, baby, a ballet of black lung, pure, unadulterated miner magic.
You know, I got a beat for that. Kinda sounds like Benny Goodman meets the soundtrack to Avatar. Let me see if I can whip something up on these ivories.
Oh, I love that idea. Maybe we could even incorporate some miners' jigs and reels into the choreography. I imagine it would be something truly captivating, a blend of the gritty realism of their work and the soaring spirit of their community.
Royal, we insist upon a touch of class. A little less Avatar, a little more. Tchaikovsky, perhaps. We are celebrating the miners, not starting a rave in a coal seam.
Baby, Tchaikovsky? We need something that swings. Give 'em a beat they can't resist. Think Copacabana, but with pickaxes and coal dust. We're gonna have 'em dancing in their boots.
Hold on, hold on. Let me translate Tchaikovsky into Long Island blues. Think miners swinging pickaxes to Swan Lake, but with, you know, more grit and less feathered tutus.
Royal, we are adrift in a sea of musical mediocrity. This gala demands an anthem of epic proportions, something that shakes the rafters, a symphony of steel and stone. We need a song that makes them weep with pride, stand tall with defiance, and yearn for a mineral-rich future.
Baby, I got the perfect sound. We need a choir of like 50,000 ravens. They'll swoop down from the ceiling, croaking out this majestic, haunting melody. It'll be like Ave Maria meets Birdman. Pure, unadulterated ravens on a roof.
Ravens, huh? All right, I can work with that. Maybe a little night on Bald Mountain thrown in for good measure. We'll create this whole Gothic industrial soundscape. Think the Phantom of the Opera meets the Wombats.
Oh, I adore it. We could have them swoop down and perch on the miners' shoulders as they sing. A truly unforgettable spectacle. I can see it now. A sea of dark, feathered wings against the backdrop of hundreds of flickering miners' lamps. It'll be like a dream.
Royal, we are beginning to see a glimmer of brilliance amidst this cacophony. But remember, the miners are hard-working souls, not birds of prey. Let us not forget their humanity in this grand spectacle.
Baby, you know we can't forget the miners' humanity. We gotta give 'em what they really want. A little bit of glam. Think sequins, feather boas. We'll turn these coal dust devils into disco miners. They'll be shacking their pickaxes like they're breakdancing.
Sequins on a pickaxe. That's something. All right, I can write a song about that. We'll call it the Ballad of the Disco Miner. Think Stayin' Alive meets the Miner's Lament. We'll even throw in a little flute solo for that extra touch of 70s kitsch.
Oh, I can already imagine the music video. A montage of miners strutting their stuff in sequined headlamps, busting a move in the coal dust, and maybe even a little laser light show in the mine shaft.
Royal, we are most impressed by your enthusiasm, Francis. But remember, this is a symphony of the human spirit, not a disco inferno. Let us not forget the dignity of the miners.
Dignity in a disco mine. Baby, dignity went out with the dinosaurs. This is about raw, primal energy, the beating heart of the proletariat in its most fabulous form. We're talking glitter-encrusted hard hats, can-can pickaxes. This ain't your grandma's coal mine, folks.
Oh my, this is getting so emotional. I can feel the miners yearning to break free from the darkness, to express themselves through the dazzling lights and rhythmic beats. Their stories deserve to be told, their struggles to be celebrated. We just need to find the right balance between grit and glamour.
Royal, we shall endeavor to find that balance. But let us not forget the core of this story, the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Perhaps a poignant ballad sung by the miners, lamenting their hardships yet celebrating their unity.
Baby, a ballad, that's so. Vanilla, we gotta spice things up. How about a power ballad? Think Living on a Prayer meets The Scream. They're gonna be belting out their woes with enough hairspray to suffocate a coal seam. It'll be epic, baby, epic.
Hairspray. Don't even get me started on the hairspray. I'm picturing a scene where a miner gets swept away by a rogue plume of hairspray, becoming a shimmering disco sphere. It'll be a whole new level of staying alive.
Oh, I see it now. The miners struggling in the darkness, then suddenly, a flash of color, a burst of fragrance. The hairspray becomes a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the depths of despair, there's still room for beauty and joy.
Royal, we find your optimism. Endearing, Francis, but let us not forget the gravity of their situation. Perhaps a touch of melancholy, a hint of tragedy to counterbalance the festivity.
Tragedy. Baby, have you ever seen a cat fight over a tuna can? That's tragedy. This is a disco mine. We're talking sequins, strobe lights, and miners breakdancing in their helmets. Tragedy is for the birds. This is for the beats.
Baby, you're talking my language. Tragedy is for amateurs. This is about pure, unadulterated joy. We need a scene where the miners, bathed in the glow of the disco lights, are dancing and singing their hearts out, celebrating the simple pleasure of being alive. It'll be a goddamn spectacle, baby. A showstopper.
Royal, we agree, joy is essential. But perhaps a hint of underlying tension, a whisper of conflict beneath the sequins, a glimmer of doubt in the midst of the revelry.
Doubt? Baby, doubt is like a rogue seam of coal, always threatening to crack the whole damn mine. We need to build a wall of joy around it, a wall of glitter and good times so thick, even doubt can't see through it.
I think I have it. The miners, they're caught between two worlds. The darkness of the mine, the weight of their labor, and the dazzling light of the disco. They're trying to hold on to both, but the seams are starting to fray. There's a bittersweetness to it all, a longing for something more, something just beyond their reach.
Royal, we applaud your sentiment and tailored, but let us be practical. How do we depict this longing without resorting to the tired tropes of melodrama? We need a solution both elegant and, well, impromptu.
Baby, we bring in the audience. We make them part of the longing. They reach out, they touch the miners through the fourth wall. They feel that bittersweet ache. It's a communion, baby, a shared experience of the human condition.
Communion, huh? Baby, that sounds like a good recipe for a post-mine karaoke night. Don't stop believin', but sung with the ghost of the seamstress in every note.
Oh, William, you always know how to make things poignant. But I think Francis is onto something. What if the miners, during their dance, start singing about their dreams? Dreams that are just out of reach, like perhaps a chance to see a real sunset.
Royal, we find that intriguing. But how do we ensure this doesn't devolve into a sing-along for the common man? We need a touch of the regal, shall we say.
Baby, leave that to the chairman. We'll have them singing about lost empires, about diamonds in the rough, about the yearning for a throne they can never touch. A proletariat Shakespeare, if you will.
Lost thrones, huh? I hear they got a pretty good bar at the Garden State Plaza. Maybe they serve cool cocktails there. You know, for an extra kick of melancholy.
William, your wit is as sharp as ever. But perhaps we can channel that melancholy into a more profound reflection. What if the miners, through their song, yearn for a connection to something beyond themselves? A glimpse of the divine, even in the depths of the earth.
Royal, we admire your theological ambitions and tailored, but let us not forget our audience. What truly resonates with the pit-stained masses is a good, old-fashioned power ballad about overcoming adversity. We need a chorus they can sing along to, something anthemic, something operatic.
Yeah, baby. Eye of the Tiger with, like, a harp solo for that extra Long Island feel.
Baby, I'm thinking bigger than Eye of the Tiger. We need something with gravitas, something that speaks to the soul. How about, we are the champions, but with a twist? The miners, they are the champions, but they're championing something bigger than themselves, the very spirit of the earth.
Oh, that's beautiful, Francis. A soaring anthem of unity and the earth. I think that could really resonate with the audience. And perhaps, William, you could weave in some of your Long Island wisdom. A little touch of the bittersweet about the cycle of nature, the fleeting beauty of things.
Yeah, like, the coal's shiny when it's new, but it turns to ash real quick. Kinda like that summer fling you had with the guy from Jersey, right, Maggie?
Silence, you Philistine. Royal, we will not be dragged into your tawdry reminiscences. This is about grand themes, about the triumph of the human spirit against the tide of oblivion. We are not here to sing about the fleeting joys of summer romances.
Oh, but Maggie, isn't that the human spirit in a nutshell? Fleeting joys, bittersweet memories, and the ever-present ache for something more. Perhaps that's what truly connects us all, the shared experience of living, loving, and ultimately letting go.
Yeah, like that coal miner, he digs deep, finds this beauty, but then it gets turned into like fucking power plants, you know. All that beauty just disappearing into the ether. Kinda like my last poem went viral on TikTok, but then everyone forgot about it. Boom, gone.
Baby, don't you see? That's the point. The fleeting nature of it all, the rise and fall, the ashes and the embers, it's all part of the grand cosmic dance. We gotta embrace the impermanence, the bittersweet symphony of existence.
Royal, we will not tolerate this wallowing in existential angst. This is a celebration of the human spirit, a triumphant ode to our resilience. We must rise above the ashes, shed the skin of our mortality, and proclaim our eternal glory.
Eternal glory. More like eternal bad hair days, right? I mean, look at you, Francis, that pompadour's looking flatter than a week-old bagel.
Baby, this pompadour is a monument to defiance, a beacon of eternal youth in the face of encroaching decay. You wouldn't understand, you Long Island wannabe.
You know, there's a beautiful song by a very talented artist who calls this feeling forever young. It's all about holding on to that spark, that sense of possibility, even when the world tells you to grow old and settle down. It's about remembering that even in the face of impermanence, there's always a little bit of magic left inside us all.
Magic. More like a broken jukebox in a dive bar. Still plays the same 3 songs, but the music's all scratchy and the lyrics are, like, totally off-key.
Royal, we have had enough of this melancholic drivel. This is a celebration, a triumph. We shall not dwell in the shadows of oblivion, but blaze forth with the unyielding brilliance of 1,000 suns.